Monday, July 3rd, 2006.
The firestorm started with the Jason Grimsley revelations of HGH usage.
Big news from the sports world. Lots of folks talking about this one involving the Diamondbacks and pitcher Jason Grimsley.
And continued when David Segui revealed his name was in the affidavit, claiming he took HGH legally.
I can do things now that I haven't been able to do in probably 5-7 years. I can actually walk downstairs straight now instead of sideways.
Now experts are weighing in on the long-term effects of HGH.
In many cases, the recovery time can be only half as long.
My advice is don't take the drug. You can do yourself a lot of harm.
Tonight on Outside the Lines, performance enhancement versus sports medicine, the HGH debate.
And now, reporting for Outside the Lines, Jeremy Schaap.
If we're to believe what we've recently been hearing, human growth hormone usage has been rampant in baseball and other sports. But only a handful of athletes have come forward and admitted that they've used it. One of the admitted users is former AL MVP Jose Canseco. Canseco's raved about the positive effects of HGH. And now he's joined the San Diego Surf Dogs, with whom it can be supposed he's hoping to become an advertisement for the positive effects of the long-term use of performance enhancers, even though he says that now he is clean. As Tom Farry of ESPN The Magazine reports, there are those in the scientific community who support Canseco's assertions, and there are those who don't.
When former major leaguer David Segui came forward in June to disclose to ESPN his use of human growth hormone, he did so without apologies.
You know, when people start casting stones at the athletes, you got to look at yourselves too. You know, we're a society of medicate, get the medicine and deal with whatever's ailing you.
At 39, Segui says HGH has changed his life. The everyday battering from 15 seasons in the big leagues resulted in 17 surgeries. But he says thanks to growth hormone, he feels like a young man again. His arthritic knees no longer hurt.
I can do things now that I haven't been able to do in probably 5-7 years.
Like what?
Squats, for one. That was done. Running, bending. I can actually walk downstairs straight now instead of sideways.
In many cases, the recovery time can be only half as long.
Orthopedic surgeon Rick Delamarter of the UCLA School of Medicine did not treat Segui, but doesn't doubt he saw some benefit. A world-renowned back and spine specialist, Delamarter has worked with hundreds of college and professional athletes, including Andre Agassi, Jockey Lafitte Pincaille, and members of the U.S. men's soccer team. Most of his patients are not on growth hormone, but an increasing number are, and the results have been impressive.
My experience is anecdotal, but in the dozens of patients that I've treated with spine surgery that have been on growth hormone, I have seen an enhancement or a quicker recovery.
Like steroids, artificial growth hormone is banned by the NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball. After Arizona Diamondbacks pitcher Jason Grimsley was recently linked to HGH, Baseball Commissioner Bud Selig took out full-page ads in major newspapers, declaring that athletes' use of human growth hormone represents a threat to all sports everywhere. But some in the medical community say that type of thinking is narrow-minded.
I think what the leagues are talking about right now is the abuse and illegal use of products that are sports enhancing. I'm not talking about sports enhancing. I'm talking about improving a medical condition that a sports player has.
Mark Gordon is a Los Angeles doctor who practices what is commonly known as anti-aging medicine, a controversial discipline that dates back to the mid-90s. He prescribes growth hormone to many of his patients, a group that includes a half-dozen athletes, among them former NFL players.
Well, I think the entire array of hormones, when used appropriately for sports-related injuries or orthopedic injuries, can help accelerate healing.
An emerging body of medical literature supports some of Gordon's claims about growth hormone, which stimulates the regeneration of cells throughout the body. But federal law says that adults can only use the drug for age-related muscle wasting and for growth hormone deficiency caused by a damaged pituitary gland. The government does not recognize sports injury as an acceptable reason to prescribe growth hormone, so dispensing it to athletes remains a controversial practice.
We cannot, in all honesty, look our patients in the eye and tell them this is good for you, because we don't yet know.
Dr. Shlomo Melmed is an endocrinologist and one of the nation's leading experts on the use of artificial hormones. He has yet to see definitive long-term studies declaring HGH safe and says using it could be dangerous.
And we don't yet know in the long term that prolonged exposure to high levels of growth hormone will or will not activate dormant cancers, or whether it will or will not make a growing cancer grow faster.
You're 17 1/4, and you're right dominant.
To comply with the law, Gordon says he only dispenses the drug to injured athletes whose test results reveal what he says are low levels of growth hormone. This is how Segui says he received his first HGH prescription from a Florida doctor 3 years ago.
It came back almost off the chart low. He explained to me that that actually could have contributed to my body breaking down.
But the medical community is divided on how low is too low when it comes to growth hormone. Most mainstream physicians are uncomfortable with the way some anti-aging doctors define growth hormone deficiency.
This is probably one of the most argued facts. How do you determine what the normal range is?
What do you do?
What I tend to do is bring patients back to a level that's physiologic for age, and it might be preference on 25 to 30 years of age or 35 years of age. It all depends upon what their lifestyle is, what their goals are, what their injuries or underlying medical conditions might be.
Clearly, it has the potential to enhance performance above and beyond that which might be related to an injury.
Dr. Gary Wadler, a consultant with the World Anti-Doping Agency, questions whether many athletes legitimately qualify for prescriptions. He speculates that many athletes aren't interested in the drug for medicinal purposes anyway. They're doing it to get an edge.
Human growth hormone deficiency is a fairly rare phenomenon, and you would think if one had a deficiency, they could not have risen to the level of having been an elite athlete in the first place. Because one of the things you develop is weakness, for example. And so you certainly could not perform at an elite level while you were experiencing growth hormone deficiency.
Still, Wadler has testified before Congress recommending that sports leagues allow athletes to use prohibited drugs when medically necessary. The World Anti-Doping Agency already has such a process in place. U.S. Olympic sailor Kevin Hall gained one of those waivers before the Athens Olympics. A testicular cancer survivor, he is permitted to get testosterone shots. As a diabetic, Adam Morrison, too, would have to apply for an exemption to play in the Olympics in order to take insulin, another banned substance.
The last thing we want to do is prohibit somebody who has a medical need from getting their drug. What we do want to prohibit is an individual taking advantage of that, using dosage in excess of what are therapeutic, or using doses which are inappropriate because there is no disease in the first place.
Can you see a day when growth hormone is used for sports medicine purposes?
I can. If the science proves out that it's efficacious and safe in that postoperative recovery period, then I think if it becomes a standard of care for sports medicine or surgeons to utilize.
My advice is don't take the drug. There is no proof that it's going to help, and you can do yourself a lot of harm.
But that is a tough argument to make with athletes hoping to extend their careers and deal with injuries.
I have 3 kids, and I want to be able to run around and do things with them without being in major pain. It's about improving the quality of your living. I'll never apologize for taking advantage of medicine to improve the quality of my life.
Tom Farrey reporting. For its part, Major League Baseball has said that while players can apply for a therapeutic use exemption for any prohibited substance, none has been granted for HGH. And, quote, it's difficult to imagine MLB allowing a therapeutic use exemption for human growth hormone. Longtime Major League reliever Jason Grimsley is an admitted HGH user. Now another admitted user, Jose Canseco, is attempting a comeback at the age of 42. When we return, more on the HGH debate.